All right, so I'm here with, I would say, one of my favorite guys, one of my favorite characters, the princess, as you say.
The zombie princess.
Zombie princess, Jimmy Jacobs.
Yes, sir.
Most notably known as from Ring of Honor, indie scene, here in CZW. Then also, you know, for the, I'm going to kick the door down anyway, the infamous selfie that they put up there. I hate to be one of those guys to be the heat-seeking guys, but can you tell me a little bit about it, maybe a small bit, for people that don't know?
Well, I mean, a bit about everything is that I started wrestling in the independent scene when I was 15 years old in 1999.
We're starting the intro.
I did that for 16 years. I just got to give you the setup.
Okay, that's cool.
16 years, 10 of which was in Ring of Honor, and then I started working as a writer for WWE for 2.5 years. So recently, I was fired by WWE for taking a selfie with the Young Bucks and the Adam Page and Marty Scurll, the Bullet Club, when they did their hashtag BC Invasion at Raw. It's a couple months ago now, back in late September. We were in, I think, Ontario, California. So. Okay, because I mean, for me, for what I do and being busy, I just seen the selfie and then I seen what happened afterwards. And you know, personally, since this is my platform and you can say anything you want, curse words or whatever, I think it was petty. I thought personally that you have this character and you teach people how to be characters because, you know, honestly, I like your character. I even like the theme song that you have, Goodbye Horses, which is most infamously known as Silence of the Lambs. Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
Nobody would for me. So, tell me more about this zombie princess character that you have. Like, you know, just what inspired you to get into that?
Well, so I mean, we talk about being fired for WWE being petty. Really, it was their choice. I mean, I have no bitter feelings towards them whatsoever.
No, that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, which is cool. Yeah. I think, you know, I heard a lot of times when I got fired, a lot of people say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry," and I would say, "Thank you, but I'm not." It was a good time for me to go. It was a good way to go too. If we're just being completely honest, I mean, running an angle with the hottest act outside of WWE wasn't a bad way to go, and it's allowed me to come back to the independent scene and the zombie princess has risen from the grave. You know, initially, back in like 2005, I had a friend, and she is a term of endearment. Called me princess because princess. Because I always, you know, wanted things a certain way. She's like, whatever you want, princess. You know.
Yeah.
And it always seemed like a cool. I was like, man, that's kind of a cool name to do. And I was trying to figure out a way to work it in for years. It was like 2005. And then finally in a promo one day, he was cutting a promo on Kevin Owens, and he had made fun of like the way I dressed or whatever it was. And I said, you know, I don't need to look tough, I don't need to dress tough, I don't need to talk tough, because I am tough. I'm beaten down, beaten up, bled more times than I can count. I can put on a tutu tiara, call myself a princess. I'll still be the toughest guy in the room, because just when you think I'm down, just when you think I'm dead, I rise from the grave like a zombie. So Kevin, March 4th, you're going to get your ass handed to you by the motherfucking zombie princess. That's where it came from, and now it's evolving.
And also your scum, too.
Scum, right. What does that stand for? I forget what that stood for. Something, ugliness, and mayhem. Something, chaos, ugliness, and mayhem. That's what it was.
I love that group, and it was you, Carino, Steen, and I forget some other. Right, so yeah, memories killing me.
At its core, it was me, Kevin, and Steve Carino, and then we added some other guys into the group a little later, sort of like a new incarnation, you know, including, God, I don't forget people, Rhino, Jimmy Rave,
yeah.
What's his name? Time to Die, Cliff Compton, and Matt Hardy. You know, Matt Hardy.
Really?
Matt Hardy was a big thing, and that was. And Rhett Titus as well. That's right.
He was scum before he was broken or woken.
That's right. He was scum. That was when like Moneybags Matt or whatever. He was in Scum, and that was a good time. Yeah.
Not to go off kilter though, but he's doing great with the broken character that they're dubbing Woken, which I hope they use the universe for. If not, then I think it's gonna suck.
Matt's the man, and when you look back at all that broken stuff, I saw like a kind of highlight video of it the other day. I was like, fuck, this was so good, man. It was really good. I remember being like the first time seeing it, being like, this is the shits. Like, what the fuck what are they thinking? This is awful. This is why you don't let guys just do whatever the fuck they want. And then then all of a sudden it just grew on me. It's like, fuck, this is really good. And then it became like, fuck, I wish I had done this first.
Oh my goodness! I mean,
and then once Final Deletion came around, I remember Final Deletion, and like that was like the tipping point for me. Like, people were kind of making fun of it a little bit, but when Final Deletion came out and I had it on DVR, I remember waking up that day like it was Christmas morning. Like, me and my buddies, hey, let's watch Final Deletion together. And how often does that happen in wrestling anymore?
No, I mean, I think it's like when he had something good, like it just stuck onto it. Yeah. So I believe in creative freedoms when it comes to the guys. It just has to stick with fans, and if it doesn't, then you have to go back to the drawing board. Sure. So not everything has to be done with companies creative. I mean, I'm an artist myself. And then plus with you can actually make your own princess zombie princess kingdom.
Sure.
Like you can have almost anything you want because everybody is trying to get with you now that you're back in the indie scene.
Yep, and that's the cool thing about being back in the independent scene. It was probably a year that I was after I started working for WB, and I was still happy there. But I started to have a deeper appreciation for my time on the independent wrestling in general, and why somebody would actually want to leave WB and come to the independents, because WB is a very specific thing. Like if you want to do this very, very specific thing, like WB is cool. And if you want to make money, WB is cool, right? But if you don't want to do this like very specific thing, if money isn't your driving force, and you don't want to do this very specific thing, it can suck the life out of you, and I think it does for a lot of guys.
It didn't for you, did it?
Yeah, for sure, yeah, absolutely. And that's why it's so rejuvenating to be out here in the independents and having this freedom to try whatever I want to try, which I've been doing here at Cage of Death tonight. So.
Well, one of the things I didn't know about you, and I got this from another interview that you did, is that you had a small, I would say a small problem, and with the from Talk Is Jericho, I heard that you had like this thing with opioids.
Yeah, it wasn't a small problem. It's a problem for like 12 years.
Well, I don't want to be that guy.
You can frame it however you want. Yeah, no, it was a big enough problem for me to say, hey man, I can't live like this anymore, and check myself into rehab. Yeah, it was a big problem.
Well, also I live in Baltimore, Maryland, which is like the number one.
Yeah.
The number one opioid capital of the United States and whatnot. So I deal with that problem every day when I see people on the walk and whatnot. Yep. And honestly, to ask you this for people out here, but what got you to stop? What really got you to like, I can't do this anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it was a point where I was on that cycle for a really long time. You go through I was on that ride, that clown car for a really, really long time. 12 years, on and off, but mostly on. I had maybe like in 2010, maybe like 6 to 8 months clean or something like that. And other than that, maybe a month here, a month there, it just got to the point where I was going through some shit, and I knew that my only coping mechanism was drugs, and a lot of them. And I was just at a crossroads where I was like, do I just keep going down this road? I'm about to go down it like hard and heavy, or do I just get off this ride and see what happens and get off the elevator and take the stairs up,
It wasn't like for pain or anything like that, like just injuries.
No, emotional pain, man, mental pain.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, that's what it was, right? It's a numbing thing. It's just. Yeah, it's how you manage. It's how I manage my emotions for the longest time. It's how I did everything for the longest time. It's you're not functional without it, anytime anything happens, if it's like, oh, we're going to a party, cool. Something bad happened, okay, good, we'll take it, it'll make it better. We're just hanging out and we're bored, all right, this will make it better. And it's just the short-term fix becomes a long-term problem.
Okay, well, because you're actually the second person that I interviewed that we talked about, addiction and whatnot, and I'm pretty big about that because a lot of people don't know where it can lead to. A lot of kids, they say like, well, he's doing it, I can do it, and I feel better, and they start to medicate themselves as soon as they get out of the bed in the morning. And I see little kids do it before school, before high school, and it's just like, I ask them, it's like, how is your life that bad? So I'm not saying I'm not judging, but it's just that there are other ways of doing so.
Of course, and my life wasn't that bad. I made it worse.
Yeah, so I don't know, man, but I don't want to lead down to this dark path because you're looking good.
I feel good, man.
You look a lot better than me.
Man.
I can say that for sure. You look like a prince or a king.
Princess, thank you.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, man, I'm literally the best I've ever been in my life, and it's crazy. It's crazy to be on the other side of all that stuff, you know, because the drug use and depression, like, they fed off each other. That's the cycle, man. That's the cycle, and it sucks. If anybody has dealt with depression, and like, this isn't a woe is me anything, it's just depression's rough, man. It is really, you know, in my experience, it's nothing to do with like being sad or something bad happening. Depression is like a very like a physical thing, a very like. You know when you first wake up in the morning, you're kind of like, still sort of tired.
Yeah.
That's like the entire time when you're depressed. It's like you're just there's this like fog, there's this haze, and you have to pull yourself up out of bed and wade through the sludge of life, and everything's a chore, everything's a task. And you know, whenever you get up, the first thing you think is, fuck, when am I going back to bed? And then when you lay down in bed, all you think is, fuck, at some point I have to get up. And that's no way to live.
Oh, my goodness.
It's no way to live. And it's still crazy for me to be on the other side of that. You know, when in the dark times, you think, hey, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's amazing that I'm living in the light now. It's crazy. I'm so not used to it. So.
Well, like I said, I want to get like you because you're glowing right now.
Thanks,
and you look great. I mean, everybody loves you. Some people, very few people like me, a little bit. I gotta prove on it. I like the metrosexual business. I can't afford it sometimes, but I want to ask you this in the end. Where would you like to go that you have never been before? Like, would you like to go to Japan or go back to the WWE to introduce the zombie princess character? Or
I mean, the truth is, man, like the way I'm living now, and this is gonna sound how it's gonna sound like. I got no goals anymore. And that's to say I don't want to like do anything. It's just like I'm not like fighting for something. For so long it was like Jimmy Jacobs versus the world. It's like everything's a fight, everything's a struggle. Jimmy Jacobs versus the world, and now it's like Jimmy Jacobs with the world. And
that's what it sounds like now.
Yeah, man. And whatever happens is gonna happen, and I'm gonna do my best. Tonight I'm looking forward to like trying to like kind of. Do something special here tonight.
You're facing Jimmy Havoc.
Yep, and
I can't wait because I've been seeing the posters. I've been tweeting, Instagramming it.
Yeah,
I was like, I want to see this match happen.
Cool. By the time this comes out, I'm sure it'll be all said and done, and people will be like, "Oh no, that was the shits." He thought it was going to be good.
I did like your match with Callahan, though.
Thanks, man. So we'll see. So that's all I'm doing, man. And then I've been on the road for past like 10 days. I'm home for 3 days. I'm on the road for another 7 days. I've never been busier. I've never had more fun doing this.
Well, look, I want to have you back one day. We can talk about road stories and road life and everything. But I would request your information on social media where people can follow you. And catch you.
Absolutely. You can go on Twitter at Jimmy Jacobs X or Instagram at Jimmy Jacobs X. You can buy my T-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com.
By the way, I love that. I love that unprofessional wrestler shirt.
Unprofessional wrestler, man. I'm the unprofessional professional wrestler, the Zombie Princess, Jimmy Jacobs. ProWrestlingTees.com / Jimmy Jacobs, and buy my shirt because I'm unemployed now, so I need that.
Well, thank you very much, Jimmy. I got to follow up with some things after the interview, but it's been a pleasure. You're one of my favorite characters. I get so invested because it's a character, is what it is.
Thanks, man.
So thank you very much. I'll see you later, and have a great match.
Cool. Thanks, Ross.